Grip strength and arm care. Do pitchers need to have a strong grip? Is there a relationship between grip strength and the need for Tommy John surgery? We're going to discuss all this and more in today's video. Hey guys, Jed Johnson from dieselcrew.com, and I think there's no doubt that there is a relationship between how strong and how well prepared your grip and your forearms are and the chance that you're going to end up having some kind of UCL damage or need surgery. However, I don't think that link has to do with sheer grip strength, like closing big grippers or lifting heavy weights or pinching plates or anything like that. I think we're talking about two things that can be done with the same muscles. So there's a lot of ways to train the muscles of your forearm. Your muscles can move your hands, wrists, forearms in many different ways. Flexion, extension, the different rotations, different deviations, circular movement patterns, combination movement patterns. All those things are possible with your lower arms, which makes them the best resource possible for athletics. But I think, like I said, instead of just sheer grip strength training in order to produce big numbers and things like that, I think you really need to pay attention to three other key things. I think probably biggest of all is proper mechanics. I think a lot of times when pitchers run into problems, since every single pitch they make is going to cause a little bit of damage, if their mechanics are lacking, then that damage is going to be magnified even more. So I think it's important to make sure that every pitcher is watched by the coach, by the pitching coach, by the parents, even the strength coach, to make sure that their mechanics are how they need to be. Any problem in the throwing mechanics can result in undue stress being put on the arm, and there's enough stress on the arm already just due to the nature of baseball. Another thing I think is important is specific training. I know that there's a lot of detail that's put into the shoulder and maintaining shoulder health. I don't know how many programs actually spend time on the grip though. And I think it's important that coaches consider that and they work the lower arms in a variety of ways. There's classic things like rice digs, which I think are great for blood flow, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But another way that I think can be used is by using shots and other heavier items for taking the arm through those different ranges of motion, holding it similar to how you would with a baseball, but instead of throwing it and messing up your arm further, I'm talking about going through different ranges of motion, flexion, extension, deviations, and rotation with a heavy object, whether it's a shot, whether it's a plate, or some other item that you can hold on to. Even a baseball with surgical tubing run through it in order to do different movement patterns, bands, just surgical tubing in itself, ropes, things along those lines can all be used in order to train the lower arms in a multitude of different directions that will just allow that athlete to become better prepared for the sport. And the stronger they are, the better prepared that they are, the more resilient that they will be against injuries. So that's something important to take into consideration. And I think maybe one thing that I could add in there that would help people out with helping baseball players continue to play well all throughout the season, avoid injuries, is recovery practices. So taking time out of the schedule in order to promote blood flow to the area, stretching the area, maintaining mobility, not just getting into the weight room and moving weights around, not just taking care of the shoulder, but thinking about specifically training the forearms for recovery. And we do this by increasing blood flow through various exercises and making sure you hit all the ranges of motion. So the one thing that I would suggest to baseball players, and especially pitchers, or any players that have to do a lot of throwing, or anyone that seems to be feeling something in their elbow, is I would make sure to end every workout with some kind of exercise that leaves the forearm really pumped, like a monster pump in there, fully engulfed with blood, because what that's going to do, all that blood is going to bring in new nutrients, help with recovery, and also pull out any kind of metabolic waste that's in there, things that's going to gum up the area and cause problems for recovery, things along those lines. So some really low resistance, high repetition, high volume work like that is going to leave the forearms really flushed with blood, and I think it's going to help out tremendously for recovery and health for the lower arms to try to fend off some of these injuries like Tommy John surgery, tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, and other things like that can creep in the middle of a season, whether it's for a baseball player or even a softball player. That kind of stuff can creep up and cause problems. And you know as well as I do, when you have something that's bothering you, like a joint, like your elbow, it gets in your head and you're always thinking about it. You don't need to be focused on those things. You want to focus on the game, every single pitch that's coming your way, the one you're delivering next, the play that's coming at you. That's what you want to be focused on, not how bad your arm hurts. So hopefully this video has been helpful for you. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and don't forget to check out dieselcrew.com. See ya.